All right, we had had a few error messages when I was starting the stream. Let me know if you guys can hear me in the chat room. Don't know if everything switched on all right. Hold on. All right, cool. See, I thought everything was fine. Then I go to start the stream, suddenly it's error message, error message, error message. I don't know what's going on. There's always something going wrong with OBS. This software just does not like me for some reason. But, okay, we are good to go. Thanks for tuning in. Also, thanks for all the comments on the Snow White video. I was a little bit weirded out that so many of you were more interested in my hair than in the review or the movie. Yeah, comment is a comment. I'm not complaining. I didn't think my hair was that interesting, though. And is it just me, or am I looking a little fuzzy? Hold on. All right, whatever. Okay. Yeah, look what Snow White did to our boy. To be honest, I would have gotten rid of the hair a lot sooner. I was literally saving it because I knew I needed to do something big for the Snow White video. So I figured, you know what? I'm kind of getting tired of the hair. Why don't I just use it as a gag for that video? It's kind of become a tradition. I let the hair grow really long, and then every couple of years I try to come up with some big joke to shave it off in a video. It's usually kind of the same thing each time. The thing I'm reviewing is just so bad it makes me lose all my hair. It does feel good to get rid of it though. Commitment to comedic timing is worthy of a medal. Oh, thank you. All right. Okay, so Daredevil, still really itchy back here. Daredevil episodes 5 and 6. We got 2 episodes this week. And yeah, we got two episodes this week. I think they were, I guess, done with the stalling. And here it is. Otherwise I'm not really sure why. Maybe they, it's just a guess. I think maybe they thought people had waited long enough to see Daredevil back in action, but we still had episode 5 to get through first, which was kind of a self-contained bottle episode, with not much, I don't know, not much narrative momentum, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word for it, but that one was just, they weren't really trying to progress that much of the story. It was just kind of like this self-contained thing. Also, I'm not really sure how necessary it was either. It wasn't a bad episode by any means. It was, perfectly fine, but it felt like we were mostly covering stuff we'd already gone over here. We see Matt really getting the itch to return to crime fighting, which he does. He's just not doing it as Daredevil yet. Thought we'd already kind of addressed that. And plus, I think this was the point where we've started deliberating this a little bit too long now. I did appreciate that the action was back. I just didn't think we'd have to wait until episode 6 to see Daredevil suit up again. Anyway, this one begins at a bank. The whole episode's growing faster than they can keep up with or something. I wasn't sure how that works. But the guy overseeing the case turns out to be Mr. Khan. He got out of Jersey City for the day. Lucky him. So, Jesus Christ. Mr. Khan can't help but spend several minutes talking up his amazing daughter and Jersey City's very own superhero, Ms. Marvel, who has her very own custom Funko Pop now. Yeah, I'm sure that'll be what finally gets her over Marvel. Great idea. Jesus Christ, it never ends with this character. Can someone please explain this to me? Out of every character in the Marvel canon, why is Kamala freaking Khan the hill this studio is absolutely dead set on dying on? I mean, she hasn't had her own title in years because it kept getting canceled due to low sales. They shoehorned her into an Avengers book. Nobody liked her in there. They put her in a video game. Same deal. They crammed her into an X-Men book, which didn't even last 12 issues before it was one of the first X-Men books of the relaunch to get canceled. Nobody watched her Disney Plus show, and even fewer people watched the Marvels, and yet they're still moving ahead with this Young Avengers project, which looks like it's going to have Kamala front and center. How is Marvel still not sick of flushing money down the toilet with this character? Every single thing they put her in has been a flop. Now, granted, if sticking her in the Young Avengers means I don't have to deal with her showing up in the X-Men movies, I will put up with it. But holy hell, that Feige still refuses to read the room on this one just really baffles me. Anyway, she doesn't show up here, thankfully. It's just her dad. And so, fine, whatever. He's the bank assistant manager. He has a reason to be there. Okay. He denies Matt the loan he's looking for, but at least he's nice about it. And Matt's barely out the door when a bunch of armed, masked, gun-toting Irish dudes walk in and hold the place up. And because Matt's a big damn hero who just can't help himself, he walks right back in. The whole rest of the episode is about this bank robbery. The Irish mob are trying to get something in the vault, and this has to do with them being pissed off about that 1.8 they owe the other mob as restitution for offing two of their guys. But the bank manager was running late, he's not there, and he's the only one who has the combination to open the vault. And with Mr. Khan being the assistant manager, the pressure's on him now. He doesn't actually have the combination. I'll be honest, this episode felt a little bit slow. Oh, well, not exactly slow, but drawn out. I mean, it felt they were taking their time getting to the point here. You had the lead Irish guy making small talk with the hostage negotiator for several scenes that felt unnecessary. Matt trying to convince him to let one of the other hostages go while he stays in the dude's place. Good for Matt, I guess. And the other hostages get a bunch of lines just because I guess we're meant to recognize them when they show up later. And none of this is bad, but I don't think we needed a lot of it. You know, many of these scenes go on longer than they need to for some reason. There's one where the hostage, where the lead Irish dude says he'll give the hostage negotiator a few more minutes to get shit done if she can tell him a joke. Then she tells him a joke and he likes it, and that's just it. Did we need that? No. So what was all that about? I don't know, but then the hostage negotiator shows up in a scene in episode 6, but she's not doing anything. She's just there for a meeting in Fisk's office, but that's not about negotiating any hostages, so what was she doing there? I don't know. Why is this character there? Why does she exist all of a sudden beyond negotiating for hostages in this episode? It's all very strange. It's like they're trying to introduce these characters, but I don't know what the characters are there for. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe that'll be clearer in the next couple of weeks. Otherwise, we could have sped this up a little bit. I think another pass in the editing bay could have tightened this up. Assuming all those other characters are not serving any sort of purpose. I don't know yet. Otherwise, I think a lot of this depends on how invested you were in that Irish mob subplot from a few episodes ago, and I'd kind of forgotten about it. So that might have been part of the problem. Anyway, Mr. Khan told the Irish dudes that he can open the vault, but he actually can't, so he's stalling while Matt pretends to need to use the little boy's room. One of the Irish dudes takes him down the stairwell where Matt just fucks this guy up, somehow without alerting the other thugs. Then he takes out the other guy who was watching Mr. Khan and uses his super hearing to get the combination to open the vault. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. I don't need Matt to be in the Daredevil suit 24/7. I just want to see him doing cool shit. So, excuse me. So the idea is to find whatever the Irish dudes want that's in the vault and use that to buy themselves some time. And they figure out what the bad guys were after is a diamond the size of a D&D dice. This thing is huge. So the SWAT team comes storming in, smoke bombs go off, Matt takes out a few of the thugs. In the chaos, the bag with the diamond in it gets passed to one of the hostages who was a plant working with the bad guys. She smuggles it out. Meanwhile, the leader dresses up like a cop, walks out the front door, seems to have gotten away until Matt catches up to him in a back alley, completely destroys this poor bastard, snaps his leg in half like a spaghetti stick. Jesus Christ, that was almost hard to watch. And yet I couldn't look away. Hell yeah, this is what I was waiting for. Since episode 1, Matt's finally getting his mojo back. And there are few things in the MCU more satisfying than watching Daredevil beat the living shit out of someone who's really got it coming. Can't wait, let's go, bring on Muse in episode 6. Turns out the lady with the diamond doesn't have the diamond after all. She has a piece of candy that Matt swapped out for the real thing, and the real diamond ends up in the candy bowl on Mr. Khan's desk. He invites Matt over for dinner as a thank you for saving his life, but it's in Jersey City, so not sure if that's a reward or a punishment, but it doesn't matter, the episode's over. This episode was good once the plot got moving, but it did drag its feet on doing that. The first half of the episode is weirdly slow. Yeah, there was all this stuff with the hostage negotiator. Felt like they just wanted to give her and the Irish dude more lines. For what reason, I don't know. Same thing with the hostages. Yeah, some of those characters show up again later, but did they need to show up later? Like in episode 6, did we need to see in episode 6, did we need to see the sanitation guy talking to Fisk and be like, hey, it's that dude from the bank? Did we need that? I don't know. Is he going to do something important later? Maybe, but he doesn't in episode 6. It's all very strange. Parts of this seem like the writers were stalling. Yeah, they were a bit light on the story here. I don't know why they couldn't have just shortened the episode by a few minutes. That would have been fine. I mean, they don't all need to be mini movies. It's okay. Again, nothing really bad here. I just thought they could have shaved several minutes off this. Episode 6 begins with some city workers finding the corpse of that guy Muse was sucking the blood out of last week, and then trying to get rid of one of those murals that have been popping up all over the place. They weren't really acknowledged by any of the characters until now, but we've been seeing a lot of them for the last few weeks. This one is depicting Kingpin in an unflattering light, and God knows we can't have that, so he wants them gone. Turns out they can't be erased. Like, the murals can't, they don't wash off. You know, it's on there permanently because the paint was mixed with blood or something, and it creates some kind of epoxy that's, I don't know, it doesn't come off with not just paint over it. I don't know what's going on there, but it's on there permanently. Which they find out from that guy from the bank episode, and that's why he had lines in that episode apparently, because he was the one who was going to find out that the paint is mixed with blood. That's why he was there. That's why he had lines in episode 5. Okay, I don't know way to all this suspicious graffiti art depicting various events from the episodes. It seems like they were Muse's handiwork, and he was using the blood of his victims to do this. Victims which now number at least 60. So we've got a serial killer on our hands, okay? He's not too happy about being told that he needs to pay 1.8 to the other mob, and he kind of gets in Kingpin's face about it, which I can't which doesn't strike me as a thing that would have happened previously, certainly not in the Netflix days. Kingpin thinks this guy's getting a little too uppity, so just like that, now he owes 2.8. He owes 2.8. With, the balance going to Kingpin, of course. And he's got until the end of the week to pay it. 2.8 of what? I still don't know. Is it $2.8 million? 2.8 kilos of something? Beats me. It doesn't seem important right now. Meanwhile, Matt's therapist girlfriend her editor is getting on her ass about her next book. And, well, how's this for a coincidence, guys? Her next book is going to be all about vigilantes. Wow, small world, huh? Yeah, it's going to be all about examining the mask and asking how does the mask, does the mask allow vigilantes to be their true selves or allow them to act like animals? And the answer is both, because this is cleverly juxtaposed with Matt and Fisk. So I guess the answer is yes. They're both kind of true. And now that the ice is broken, therapist girlfriend is like, "Hey Matt, since we're on the subject, you've represented a few vigilantes, right? Any chance you could get me an interview with the Punisher?" I would actually like to see that. I would. I think that could be really entertaining. Yeah, sure, sweetheart. You do a sit-down with Frank fucking Castle. See how well that goes for you. If doing marriage counseling for the fucking Kingpin... And Matt is just as incredulous about those. And then she's all, "Oh, okay, all right, fine. If Punisher's off the table, hey, how about Daredevil?" So yeah, things between her and Matt were going a little too well, weren't they? Yeah. Now we're seeing her true colors emerge a little bit here. I'm not saying their whole relationship was about her getting stuff for her book, but I wouldn't put it past her after this scene, and it's pretty obvious that Matt is getting suspicious now too. Just the look on his face as she walks out to go to work. He's like, "Oh, fuck." You shouldn't have let Karen get away, Matt. Don't worry, she'll be back. Or if not, there's always that hot arraignment officer from last week. You definitely had a spark with her. But yeah, I don't trust therapist girlfriend anymore. So later on, Hector Ayala's niece Angela comes in to see Matt at the law firm. She tells him that her uncle was investigating something having to do with all those people going missing. And he would have wanted to do something about that. Because we had a serial killer, 60 dead people. Hector Ayala would have done something about that. He would have wanted someone to do something about it if he couldn't. He would have wanted somebody to finish his work. She also even mentions the general area where people have been going missing. Hint. Which is more than Matt would need to work this out himself if he were so inclined. And he's almost there. He's almost there. He just needs one last little push. And Angela kind of shames him for not doing anything, which is really a dick move. After Matt took on her uncle's case pro bono and won the case for him. Yeah, the crooked cops killed Hector afterward, but Matt's just a lawyer as far as she knows. I'm not sure what else she expects him to do. Yeah, I get why they're doing it. Matt needs the push. Okay, but still, what does Angela think a blind lawyer can do to catch a serial killer? I mean, he could try calling the authorities and say, "Hey, maybe check around this area where Hector was investigating," I guess. But seriously, what does she expect Matt to do? I don't get it. Anyway, the mayor's grappling with this serial killer now, too. He wants this whole thing kept very quiet, But since the sanitation department figured out that they've got a serial killer before the NYPD did, maybe it's time to switch things up a little bit. Which he does by appointing a task force made up of all the corrupt cops on the force, which will be personally overseen by him, of course. And this task force will have special privileges, like no body cameras, so they won't have to worry about all that pesky evidence that could be used against them in court. You can see where this is going. Also, Kingpin's had it up to here with all these benefits and speaking events and shaking hands and kissing babies and all this other annoying, boring stuff that a mayor has to do. It's all wearing very thin for him now. So he goes to another benefit, and it really doesn't go well for him there. It's a lot of wealthy donors who are just not having it with him anymore. One of them flat out accuses him of using this port expansion project to enrich himself. Again, taking inspiration from real political events. That's fine as long as they don't punch us in the face with it. Funnily enough, one of these donors who are not putting up with Fisk anymore is Jack. I think that's his name. Kate Bishop's almost stepdad from Hawkeye, who we thought was a villain, but who turned out to be a good guy after all. And in a previous scene, it was an interview with some dude on the street. They showed us phone footage of the swordsman breaking up a fight, assholes, on the street somewhere. So the swordsman could be a thing later on. Who knows? Investigator guy tells Matt about the serial killer and the painting with the people's blood and the 60-plus victims. He advises Matt to stay away from this one and just let the police handle it, and it does appear as if Matt's going to listen to him. But Muse ain't afraid of the police. His latest mural, made with the blood of 2 victims who approached him on the street wanting to do a selfie with him, is blatantly mocking the police. That's how we wind up with the task force. So Matt and Fisk are really mirroring each other here. They've been doing that a lot since the show started, but here it's very clear what they're doing. For both of them. This episode is about their frustrations finally boiling over to the point where, whether they want to or not, they return to their old ways. So we see Angela in the subway tunnels trying to find what Hector was looking for since nobody else was doing anything. Credit for Angela having guts, I guess. Not sure it was the smartest thing to do. Later on, her mom calls Matt and tells him that Angela hasn't come home yet. Okay, again, why are you talking to the lawyer about this? This seems like something you should talk to the authorities about. What do you want Matt to do? Sue somebody? Your daughter went missing in the subway. Okay. Call 911? Maybe? Why do they keep thinking the blind lawyer can help with this? Anyway, Muse is currently draining Angela's blood. That's the push Matt needed. So he almost calls 911, but then he's like, oh, fuck it. Finally, he suits up again. Finally, we're getting down to business. In more ways than one, because then we see Fisk ducking down to his basement to confront Adam with an axe. And I thought he was going to chop Adam into little pieces, or at least chop Adam's hands off, because Vanessa loved his hands so much. But no, it's even better than that. He opens up a cell door, and in one of the biggest alpha moves you'll ever see, Fisk tosses Adam the axe, and he's like, come at me, bro. Take your best shot. Holy shit. Say what you will about the Kingpin, that dude is no pushover. At least as long as he's not being handled by the Echo writers. Anyway, I know some of you weren't happy about Vanessa kind of cucking Wilson last week, but that may have been a deliberate choice by the writers, because Fisk, like Matt, also needed a push. I think that was kind of the point, is that he wasn't acting like himself. He had almost kind of become a pushover because he was trying so hard to change his ways and not revert back to the old Kingpin, but it turns out that was not to be. This next sequence is fantastic. Muse hears something. Not sure how he can make out the noise. I mean, it is a subway, but he hears some kind of metal clanking around. He goes to check it out, and there's this amazing shot where we see somebody charging towards him, illuminated by the red taillights of the subway train. Such a cool fucking shot. And then Daredevil plows into this guy like a bat out of hell. Meanwhile, Adam is trying to fight Fisk with the axe, and Fisk absolutely brutalizes this motherfucker. Credit to Vincent D'Onofrio. I don't know how old he is. I think he's in his 60s or something, but he gets so fucking intense during these things. It's genuinely frightening. This is the Kingpin I've been waiting for. This is the Kingpin we should have gotten in Hawkeye and Echo. Just a pants-crappingly terrifying, brutish monster. He snaps the axe handle with his bare hands. He throws Adam into the wall so hard the bricks are coming loose. At one point, he throws something almost comes down with him. It's amazing. He beats this dude within an inch of his fucking life. And I'm pretty sure the only reason why he doesn't finish him off is because he probably wants to continue beating him until there's nothing left than a pile of meat. Heaven help that poor bastard Adam. Jesus Christ. And the Daredevil Muse fight is awesome too. Muse doesn't seem to be on the same level of fighters as Bullseye and Punisher, but he has a good showing here. He holds his own with Matt, although Matt seems to be outclassing him most of the time, which we kind of needed because this is when Matt comes back to the Matt and gets his groove back on. And it's a lot like the Bullseye fight, actually, because Matt's fighting him while at the same time listening to Angela's heart slowing down and trying to beat this guy before it stops. So eventually he's got Muse beaten. He's this close to hanging Muse with the grappling cord around his neck, but then Angela's heart stops. Matt has to race over to her to do CPR. Fisk is sitting in Adam's cell with it. It's Adam's cell. He's in Adam's cell. He dragged the guy back into the cell. And he's sitting there looking weirdly peaceful, like he'd been holding that in for way too long, and finally letting it out felt so damn good. And it's a dark cell except for this bright white light that's illuminating. Did anyone else catch that? That was a great touch. So anyway, Muse escapes while Matt's performing CPR. But Matt got Angela breathing. She wakes up. She recognizes Daredevil. He's like, I'm here. You're safe now. And it's one of those awesome, fuck yeah, fist pumping moments. I got a little misty-eyed here because of how well they built up to this and how well it was done. This scene is fantastic. Not just because the action is great, but because of the storytelling here. How Matt and Fisk's moves were mirroring each other during the fights. Like they were both doing like a headbutt at the same time, and they both had their opponent down and were just pummeling him at the same time. Because they're kind of like two sides of the same coin. And then there was the clever use of lighting, white for Fisk, red for Matt, and what that symbolizes, for Fisk especially, awesome, awesome stuff. And one other thing, for a minute, did anybody else wonder about this? For a minute, when Muse was draining Angela, I kind of thought they might reveal that she was wearing Hector's amulet, so she might have the powers of the White Tiger now and try to fight him herself. I was sure about that, because I mean, he was like kind of fiddling with her sweatshirt, and they kind of pulled the sleeve up, and you see some bracelets and stuff on there. And I thought, oh wait, is she going to have the amulet wrapped around her wrist? I was waiting for it, but no, it didn't happen. Strange. Yeah, that might happen later on, and that'd be cool. You know, I like Angela. You know, the actress is good. That's fine. But no, they, as it turns out, they swerved me by not swerving me here. She didn't have the amulet, didn't have the powers. She was just a kid who needed help. And then here comes Daredevil to save the day. I appreciated that. Damn, those last 10 minutes were so fucking good. I don't think we needed to wait until episode 6 to get to this point. Like I said, there wasn't a lot in episode 5 that really carried over. That was like weirdly self-contained. So I think you probably could have just foregone episode 5 and just done this as episode 5 instead. I don't think it would have taken much rejiggering. So that was a little weird, but ultimately, even though the wait was a little bit long, holy shit was the payoff worth it. And now that Matt and Fisk are back to their real selves, I fully expect that they're just going to go balls to the wall for the rest of the season. So I think it's 9 episodes, so we got, like, what, 3 more weeks now? Damn, it's gone by really fast, hasn't it? Okay, anywho. What did you guys think of episodes 5 and 6? Stefan Korn. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Thank you for the super chat. Awesome haircut. Thanks for returning to the live streams. Oh, you're welcome. Originally I stopped doing the live streams because this was how I was covering the Marvel shows at first. But I stopped because of some health-related reasons. Also, I was still using my old computer at the time, and there was always some kind of buffering issue, and the reception wasn't great, and there was always like a time lag, and the quality just wasn't good. And it was frustrating me, and I figured I could cover them a lot more effectively just doing like the video review format. So I switched to that for a while, and that hasn't gone away. I'll still do some shows like that, but I was at a point where I could go back to the live streams because I finally found some meds that kind of mitigate the symptoms enough that I can do this again. And also, I've got a newer computer now, so the technical issues have hopefully been resolved now. But yeah, the time slot was tricky because my video making process is kind of slow. It always has been. So if they're dropping a new episode of Daredevil on Tuesdays, that means I wouldn't be able to also do movie reviews on the weekend if I wanted to. Because, I can, write the review on Tuesday night after the episode airs, but then actually shooting it, that's an all-night process, and then editing, that's an all-night process. So I'd be lucky if I'd get them up by like Friday. And that's just too long. Because if there's a movie, I wouldn't be able to review it because I'd have to see the movie on like in the early showings on like Wednesday or Thursday if I want to get that movie review up by Sunday. And if I can't do that if I'm also covering Daredevil in a review format as well. It's just they don't line up. There's just too much clash, and I wouldn't be able to cover both of them. This way I can cover both because I can make my notes and then just bang out this review in a live stream, and then I'm good to go for the next day. So it all works out. Let's see. Oh, it's $2.8 million? Oh, I must have missed that. Okay. Can't wait for Daredevil to have dinner with Ms. Marvel and her family in the next week's episode. Yeah, hopefully they don't think we need to see that. Mr. Khan did mention that Kamala was in California visiting her friends. I guess Bruno's doing that internship or something now, and she's visiting him. I don't think there's any reason for us to see that dinner. We all wear masks, Mr. Ipkiss. Oh, you were thinking of that too, huh? Yeah, that line that Ben Stein had in the mask. You were thinking that too during that scene? Excellent. Yeah, I think she's onto him. Yeah, the therapist girlfriend. Yeah, she suspects something. Yeah, I was thinking of this the other day. Wouldn't it be really cool if the therapist girlfriend turned out to be Typhoid Mary? Like, I know she can't be because they used that character in Iron Fist Season 2, but wouldn't it make a lot of sense if she was Typhoid Mary? it's so weird. Like Matt ends up dating a therapist, and like isn't Typhoid Mary a therapist in the comics? Like it makes so much sense to have her in that spot. It's just ah yeah, she's definitely onto him. She suspects something. Matt's been really good about keeping that secret though. Yeah, I didn't get Angela's attitude. Seems like that scene only exists to push the plot along. Okay, so it's not just me then. Yeah, I mean, I get why the scene is there. I did not get Angela's motivation. He's a lawyer and he's visually impaired. What do you expect him to do? You don't know he's a vigilante. You don't know he's a crime fighter. Seriously, what can he do? He could call 911 for you. Aside from that, it's that shot was amazing. Oh yeah. One in the tunnel, and it's and they rack focus, and there's just this big red blur from the train lights, and then we see this black figure charging towards us, running out of the lights. Oh god. Oh, they nailed that. Let's see. Do you need an editor? I don't need an editor. I can't see not doing it myself, honestly. I mean that could change in the future, I guess. Um, though personally, I don't really trust anyone to cut my videos the way I like them. Might just me being OCD or something, but I feel like I kind of have to do it myself. Although it would save a lot of time if I could farm that out to somebody. Wouldn't want to have to pay them for it though. Question: will the therapist survive this series? Uh, my guess would be no. Um, I don't. I don't. I mean, just narrative. If you're asking me to make an educated guess, just narratively, my guess would be no. I think she's being set up um, as a victim of Muse. I mean, her sudden interest in vigilantes seems like something that's going to get her in a lot of trouble, and she doesn't seem to understand the inherent danger in all of this. Oh, you want to you want to interview the Punisher because you think that would go well? Not saying Frank would try to kill her or anything, but you know Frank's not all there, right? Oh, you think you could just kind of sit down with Daredevil or some other vigilante? You know these people wear masks for a reason. They work outside the law for a reason. It seems like she could very easily just get herself into a dangerous situation that she's not prepared for, and I don't know why she isn't really thinking about that. I mean, she seems like an intelligent person. I mean, she's a doctor. She's a published author. She doesn't appear to be stupid, but she seems very eager to walk into a dangerous situation with that. It just seems to me like they're setting her up to get killed. Okay. Code no need. Your editing is good. Okay. All right. Thank you. I do spend a lot of time editing these videos. I mean, if you're here, it means you've seen my videos. I'm assuming. I mean, I make a lot of edits in this, a lot of edits in those things. It does take a while, but hopefully it pays off. Daredevil will show up in Ms. Marvel, I bet. Well, Ms. Marvel doesn't have a show right now. It doesn't seem like there are plans for her to get a season 2. I'm assuming that she'll next show up in some kind of Young Avengers movie or show. Don't see any reason for Daredevil to show up in that, and I wouldn't want him to because I don't think he would fit that setting at all. It would be like putting him back in She-Hulk again. It's just an awkward fit. Yeah, we don't need to ruin Matt by pairing him up with Ms. Marvel. We don't need that. Matt is too good for shit like that. Worried Fisk is going to out Matt Murdock at some point only because the purple children don't exist to mind wipe everyone. Well, I mean, Daredevil's secret identity was outed in the comics at one point, wasn't it? I mean, I don't off the top of my head, I don't know how that story was resolved, but that's an arc they could do. I guess right now, Fisk and Matt he'll keep Matt's secret, and Matt won't go after Vanessa, and start flexing his legal muscles to do whatever he can do, to make it so that Fisk never sees Vanessa again. That's kind of the deal they made at the end of Netflix Daredevil season 3. Excuse me. Kamala Funko Pop scene was way too on the nose. Did not like yet. Yeah. I mean, was that literally just done to drive up Kamala's merch sales? Are they that desperate? Oh my god. They earlier today they did the reveal of the Avengers Doomsday cast. I was genuinely surprised that Kamala wasn't in there. I'm happy about her not being in there, but I was like, I was kind of surprised that they restrained themselves. Maybe they've learned something. I don't know, but I mean, there is that story thread there with the bangle, the Negaband, whatever we're calling it, because we know those are connected to the 10 rings from Shang-Chi in some way, and they didn't explain how in the Marvels, so that still has to be tied up. So if she's not going to be in in Doomsday, then I guess she'll have to appear in Secret Wars in some capacity just so they can explain that. Even though they didn't seem to know what the hell the story was in the Marvels because it changed between the show and the movie. Maybe they'll just ignore it. Who knows? You don't do normal reviews like you used to? No, I still do. I'm just also doing this now. So we're doing normal reviews and we're doing live streams. This is just covering Daredevil this way was just a matter of convenience because the time slot, it was kind of problematic for me. Didn't really work with my schedule. I thought the Ms. Marvel show was good until episode 3. After that, the show went downhill. Yeah, I I mean, even I said that like the Ms. Marvel show started out okay. The first episode wasn't bad. It just really fell off after that. Um, what are you most looking forward to in Spider-Man 4? We don't really know what's going to happen in Spider-Man 4 yet. All we know for sure is that Sadie Sink is going to be in it. Frankly, she could be anybody. And there's rumors that she could be Mary Jane, which I don't think so, because they already basically told us that MJ is the Mary Jane of this universe. There's some rumors that she could be Jean Grey, which I don't really think that's going to happen either. I think they're saving the X-Men for Secret Wars and Doomsday. There's also a rumor that she could be Firestar, and they might do some kind of take on Spider-Man and his amazing friends, which again, it's a possibility, but mutants aren't really established yet at all. I mean, you've said that Kamala Khan is a mutant, which whatever. Namor called himself a mutant. Okay, that makes more sense. But mutants aren't really acknowledged as a public thing here. So are we really going to throw Firestar and Iceman in there? Is that going to be Iceman's first appearance in the MCU instead of in an X-Men project? I don't think so. I mean, maybe she could be a multiversal Mary Jane from a different universe, possibly, but we already did the multiverse in No Way Home. I've been joking a little bit on Twitter that she could be playing the Spider-Man villain Joystick. Sadie could be Black Cat. No, she couldn't. Sydney Sweeney needs to play Black Cat. I can't think of any more perfect casting for Felicia Hardy than Sydney Sweeney. I will accept no one else in that part. No shade on Sadie Sink, though. I like her. What did you think of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man? The show. Yeah, so just go to the channel page. I've got a review of that show. I did it a couple weeks ago. Of course, that was just a review of the premiere episode. For the record, I did finish the rest of the season to see if it improved, because I wanted it to improve. I won't say the show got much better after the premiere. I do think it got less bad. There's still a lot about it that I don't like. I don't like the animation style. I don't like the character designs. Making Lonnie Lincoln basically a co-lead of the show was a strange choice. I mean, Tombstone isn't even really an A-list villain. Even calling him B-list would be pushing it. I think the biggest push he ever had as a character was in the Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon, where he was basically a stand-in for the Kingpin. Here, he's like a high school friend of Peter's who gets involved in gang stuff. Okay. I don't know. They just made so many weird decisions with that show. I mean, then they kind of retroactively changed it, because in the beginning it was like, why is Peter's origin involving magic and stuff? now it's so weird. It's not this character at all. And now it still involves magic, but now it's magic and time travel. Oh, but also it's still science based, and it's all just became very convoluted. Why is Doctor Strange there? What is he doing? It was all just. I still maintain it's made by people who don't really understand the Spider-Man character, and they were just changing things for the sake of changing them. I think Dr. Octopus was the only one that felt kind of faithful to the comics. Everyone else is just so different and weird. Like the Scorpion is a gangbanger now. Why? I guess Nico from the Runaways is his BFF. At one point, it was supposed to be just a teenage Jessica Jones, and that actually is from the comics, because in the comics, her and Peter went to school together. But they changed it, and now it's Nico, and apparently she's going to have her magic powers in a later season, because they teased that too. Why are they so intent on putting magic in there? Spider-Man and magic do not mix. He's not a magical character. He's a street level. Ugh. Sadie Sink might be jackpot. Oh, Jesus Christ. That does sound like something Sony would do. We know Sony does have input into these MCU Spider-Man movies. I know that Sony even wanted to make a standalone jackpot movie at one point. Not the new jackpot, which is Mary Jane with like a limitless cachet of superpowers that she can access whenever she wants to. No, there was this other character who happened to look just like Mary Jane, who was also called Jackpot. I think she had like super strength and something else, but yeah, the character did not last very long. She was just kind of a stand-in. They wanted somebody who looked like Mary Jane because Mary Jane wasn't in the books at that point. Sony wanted to make a standalone Jackpot movie. So it would not surprise me if they cast Sadie Sink as this character and forced Marvel to put her in there. Oy. I think it would be really funny if she was Joystick, though. Than Spidey. What the heck? Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, does it? Mary Jane has the Omnitrix for superpowers. Yeah, pretty much. Sadie could be Scream. You know, I was wondering what other female villains Spider-Man has that they could make her. I was wondering, it would seem so weird for him to fight Scream before he fought Venom. Then it occurs to me, that at the end of when they did No Way Home, and they very briefly brought Venom out of the Sonyverse and into the MCU for a minute, just so part of the symbiote could get left behind when he got sucked back. So we know part of the symbiote is in this universe now. And I was wondering, could it maybe bond with Sadie Sink's character and turn her into Scream? Wouldn't she just become another, like a different version of Venom? I mean, would they even bother explaining why the colors changed? Because Scream isn't an all black symbiote. All right, would they change it that much? I don't know. Could be a possibility, maybe. If she's going to be a villain, I don't know who else she might be. I mean, I know there's a female version of Electro out there. There's Shriek. They already did her in Venom 2 badly. No shade on the actress, that just wasn't the character. I kind of want her to be Joystick. I'm sorry. I just think it would be funny. Let's see. Haven't seen your head shaved since the CW days. Yeah. If I recall, it was Stargirl that I shaved it for originally. What the fuck? You're bald now? No, I do this every couple of years. I let the hair get really long and then I shave it off for a gag. Sadie could be Medusa or Crystal if we get the Inhumans. Yeah, I don't think we're getting the Inhumans. Okay, some people are inquiring about the audio. All right, sounds okay on my end. I'm sorry, some people were mentioning the audio last time too. See, I test these things a lot. Whenever I've tested it, the audio sounds okay. So I don't know what's going on. Medusa or Crystal. Yeah, I don't think we're getting the Inhumans. They briefly did the Inhumans in that terrible Inhumans ABC show, which was so awful. I kind of think Feige just wants to wash his hands of the Inhumans altogether. Yeah, I really don't think we're getting that. I think Black Bolt briefly showing up in Doctor Strange 2 is going to be the only exposure they get for a while. Audio's fine. Okay, audio's fine for you and for you. All right. Okay, so the audio is good for some people and for others it's cutting out. I think it might be a problem on your end, guys, because it sounds okay for me too. Real MJ fan cast is Maya Hawke. You know, I like Maya Hawke a lot. I don't see her as MJ. Weirdly enough, if you'd asked me this like 10 or 15 years ago, I would have said the perfect perfect Mary Ellen Page. But yeah, I mean, I saw her in when she showed up in True Blood. I thought, oh my god, this is Mary Jane Watson. Just look at her. Is there an actress with a more perfect look for MJ than this girl right here? I mean, she's an adult now, so she's great as Karen Page. Yeah, rewind the clock a little bit. That would have been my fan casting. All right. Okay. If you got any more questions, get them in now. I got some stuff to do here. Can I move this over a little bit? All right. Yeah, Inhumans were in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Yeah, they did a lot with the Inhumans actually, which the Inhumans show just completely fumbled. God, that show was so. And I watched exactly one episode and then I tapped out. Really. Sadie is Hellcat. Yeah, that could be a thing, I guess. Oh, wait, no, you're right. Hellcat isn't Jessica Jones. Yeah, and I guess now she's currently in Rikers because she killed a bunch of people. Oh boy. Thought Sydney Sweeney is either Dagger or Emma Frost. She just has that look. Might might be a little old for Dagger. I guess we're not counting the Cloak and Dagger show. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna be considered canon. Um, remember, Dagger's supposed to be a teenager, at least at first, and she's got the look for Emma Frost. I still think the perfect actress to play Emma Frost is Anya Taylor-Joy. Um, yeah, no, Sydney Sweeney just screams Felicia Hardy to me. Um, yeah, okay. Let's see. Sydney Sweeney would be an amazing Felicia Hardy. Okay, cool. So someone agrees with me there. Let's see. Not sure if this was talked about Avengers Doomsday cast. Yeah, okay. The Avengers Doomsday cast was announced a little while ago. It seems kind of random. Because they've got some strange choices in there, and they're also omitting some really obvious choices. Like there's no Spider-Man, there's no Incredible Hulk, there's no Star-Lord. But there are some weird ones who did get in there, because apparently Namor is going to be in it. Um, I think M'Baku also is going to be in it, which no shade on him. It's just a weird choice. Uh, I was really happy to see some of the Fox X-Men of the Fox X-Men characters in there. The OGs from the Bryan Singer movies, not like the newer. Kind of bummed out that Anna Paquin won't be in there. Apparently, I mean they could always announce her later, but I mean, supposedly she's had some kind of health issues in the last couple of years, so that might not be a possibility. It does suck because I mean, apparently Channing Tatum is going to be in there because they wanted to bring Gambit back. Oh boy. I was thinking, hey, maybe we could get Gambit and Rogue finally in the same movie together. The Channing Tatum thing, look, I get it. Okay. I didn't like Channing Tatum's Gambit, but I know a lot of other people did, so I get it. It struck a chord with people. The woo, I'm about to make a name for myself here thing kind of became a meme. It struck a chord. So not having him in the movie would be dumb. This is how business works. You take what works and you use it more. So a lot of people like Channing Tatum's Gambit. So yeah, throw him into the multiverse movies. Have him show up in Doomsday and Secret War, whatever. It's multiverse. It's supposed to be weird stuff. I want a different actor for MCU Gambit, but Channing Tatum can do stuff here. I'll put up with it. I may not like it, but I get it. All right, I can tolerate it. Ultimately, it's not going to matter. It's just multiverse shit. But yeah, we get Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen back, and some of the other characters. Rebecca Romijn's Mystique is back. Not Jennifer Lawrence's Mystique. Thankfully, no shade, J Law. I think we were all done with it. I think we were all as done with it as you were. So yeah, bring back Rebecca Romijn. That's cool. She can probably still pull it off. And we got the Fantastic Four in there also. To be continued on that. We don't know how their movie's going to turn out yet. So it's a weird assortment of people. Also, no sign of any of the Young Avengers in there. Thankfully, I don't need that. They can just go off and do their own thing. Give them a Disney Plus show. Just get them out of the way. Yeah. Also, no Captain Marvel apparently. Again, kind of weird. Not that I'd want her in there, but they did kind of leave us hanging with a few things in the Marvels when they sent Monica over to a universe with the X-Men in it. So Is that going to remain unresolved? I don't know. I mean, I don't really know what they're doing. But, yeah. It's weird. We don't really have a ton of information about it yet. Um, yeah, I mean, I think it could be worse. Could be better. Shang-Chi is also going to be in it, which, cool. They can finally address that subplot of, oh, the Ten Rings are sending a signal out to something in space. What are they signaling? We don't know. Been a few years, we still don't know. But they got to wrap that up somehow. But yeah, ultimately, they really don't know what they're doing with this multiverse story. I don't think they ever have. They've just been making it up as they go along, and we don't know where the narrative has been going or what it's been building up to. And yeah, they had to pivot because of the Jonathan Majors situation, and Kang wasn't really working, so they switched to Doom. Okay, fine. But that just means that you haven't really been building up to anything, because this Doom thing is just coming out of nowhere. And now you've got a kind of a random assortment of characters that are going to assemble to deal with a Doom from another universe. It's just, it all feels very random to me. I don't know how what we've been doing has been building to this. It probably hasn't. Have I mentioned that I don't like the multiverse? I just don't. This entire multiverse saga has just been a big mess. I'll be very happy when it's done. So fold the Fantastic Four and the X-Men into this universe and just get rid of the multiverse altogether. Patrick Stewart has died 3 times as Xavier. I guess this will be the 4th. Yeah, he has died a lot, hasn't he? Guy just keeps coming back. Seems to me this movie isn't starting in the MCU universe because of the cast list. No, I don't think it will. Sounds like they're going to have to build the story around Doom, and we know Doom is going to come from another universe, maybe the Fantastic Four's universe. That's possible. So I don't think it starts in the MCU. No, I think it's going to be a threat from somewhere else. I like the multiverse stories, but the issue is that it's usually used as a lazy way to retcon shit and replace characters. And that's one of the problems. I talked about this when I was reviewing What If Season 1. This multiverse stuff bugs me because it makes stories completely devoid of consequences. And it always, to me, feels like just lame-ass fan fiction. Because characters don't have to behave with any sort of consistency or logic. They don't have to behave the way they're supposed to behave because there's always the excuse of it's multiverse, it's a different universe, so they can just have them do whatever we want them to do. Which just leads to really stupid, lame stories. And we don't have to examine the consequences of anything they do because there are no consequences. Because we're only going to be with these characters for one story, and then we're just going to move to another universe and do the same thing over again. It just leads to really stupid, lazy storytelling. I'm just not a fan of it. On top of those reasons that you mentioned, which are also a thing. Why is Anthony Mackie going to lead the Avengers after his movie just bombed? Well, they did because they didn't know the movie was going to bomb. You know, these things all have to be planned out well in advance. They can't just rewrite the whole Avengers movie because Captain America: Brave New World failed at the box office. Do you know how long it would take to rewrite that shit? I mean, they're doing Doomsday and Secret Wars. I mean, those movies are. I mean, Secret War is probably already written by now, or if it's not, they're too far along in the development process to pivot gears, switch gears, whatever. I mean, Doomsday is in production now. They can't just stop. I mean, they needed that script ready to go like months ago to do like pre-production and whatnot. They're locked in. They can't just change it now. Doomsday is definitely trying to bring back T'Challa in some weird roundabout way. Yeah. Probably not a bad idea. I mean, ultimately, I think we've seen that the decision to not recast T'Challa was the wrong one to make. And this is an easy way to bring him back. Like, fold some other universe into this one and just have bring back T'Challa. He just looks like a different actor now. It's an easy way to get around this. Unless they want to say that no, that wouldn't work either. No, I guess it's multiverse. They tried making Shuri the Black Panther, and Wakanda Forever didn't fail at the box office, but it wasn't nearly as big as the first Black Panther was. I think they need T'Challa back. This is an easy way to get him back. Hasn't even been 10 years since Endgame came out. There has not been near enough build-up for this movie. They're rushing it. Not been near enough build-up. Or, well, that's one way. That's one way to look at it. Another way is they just want to be done with this multiverse shit and move on because it hasn't worked. Let's face it. Phases 4 and 5 had a few bright spots in there, but ultimately it's just been a big letdown. What they need is a soft reboot of the MCU, which they can do with Secret Wars. They just got to get there first. What do you think about Ironheart? I don't. Supposedly that show has been done and in the can for the last 2 years, and they're just now releasing it. Does anybody think that show is going to be any good? I don't. All right. Is there anything else we need to cover here? All right. Okay. You know what? I think that's about it for this one. Don't want to tax my voice for too long. We have. All right. Thank you for our super chats. I can't see you in the chat room now, but you know who you are. Thank you very much. I think it was a $4.99 super chat, so thank you for that. Thank you for everybody who tuned in. Same time next week, Wednesday nights at 10:30 p.m. Eastern is the Daredevil streams. Going to try to stick to that time slot every week, so in case you don't get notified, because the notification functions suck now, that's when it is. I'll always put up some kind of notice about that on Twitter. Also, for the record, once this stream is over, I will be setting it to private, so it's not affected by the algorithm. Links for which are down in the description box below. So go subscribe to that. Therias Unlimited live streams. That's where this live stream will end up by tomorrow, unless YouTube decides to make that difficult for me again. Because the first week there was a whole thing about that, and I couldn't upload it. I couldn't download it for like a week. So that's where it'll be by tomorrow. thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you guys next week for Daredevil episode 7, and hopefully I'll have another review for you guys in the meantime over the weekend. I think, I've gotten curious about Anora, because it won Best Picture, and everyone was like, really? Really? That movie? It seemed like such a weird choice. It's made me curious. So maybe I'll check out Anora and do a video on that over the weekend. If it's still playing at my theater. I don't know. So anyway, thanks for talking to me about Daredevil. I will see you guys soon. And Stefan Kahn. Yeah, that was your name. Stefan Kahn with the $4.99 super chat. Thank you very much. Okay. All right, thanks for talking to me, you guys. I'll see you soon. Have a good night.